You didn't wake up today to feel normal. You didn't open your eyes to slip back into the same smallness you've already outgrown. But if you're honest, you can feel it. Something is stretching inside you. Not a loud upheaval, but a quiet, undeniable pull. A tension that has no obvious cause, no convenient label, just the sense that you can't keep pretending everything still fits. There is a version of you that knows exactly what I'm talking about. The you who remembers the cost of wearing a mask for so long. The you who is exhausted from explaining your truth in languages that never really belong to you. The you who is tired of carrying the weight of other people's expectations in your chest like an inherited burden you didn't ask for. And maybe you're trying to talk yourself out of this awareness. Maybe you're telling yourself you're just tired, that this is just a season, that soon you'll find the spark again. But in the spaces where your mind can't spin another story, you feel it. You're not tired. You're done. Done rehearsing old patterns that never honored your spirit. Done measuring your worth by how well you can tolerate what diminishes you. Done pretending to be inspired by the same routines that once kept you feeling safe. What you're experiencing isn't apathy. It's the first trembling recognition of freedom. It doesn't feel like relief yet because you haven't fully let go. It feels like hovering in a threshold with no instructions, no familiar cues to guide you back to comfort. You're standing on the raw edge between the self you built to survive and the self that only knows how to live in truth. And here's the truth most people won't tell you. This place is supposed to feel disorienting. It's supposed to feel like the floor is falling away because, in a sense, it is. The old scaffolding, every habit, belief, and role you leaned on to feel certain, is dissolving. Not because you failed, but because you're finally ready to hold yourself without it. Stay here. Don't rush to fill the space. Let the quiet be as sacred as the becoming. More is coming. You don't need a plan right now. You don't need a polished answer to why you feel like a stranger in your own life. You don't even need the reassurance that it will all make sense soon. Because this isn't the part of the story where clarity appears. This is the part where your nervous system learns to trust the unknown more than it trusts the familiar lies. If you listen closely, you'll notice that underneath the confusion is something steady, a frequency that doesn't rise or fall with your moods. It doesn't care if you have it all figured out. It only asks one thing: stop reaching backward. Stop clinging to the person you had to become in order to survive a season that has already ended. Stop explaining your fatigue like it's a flaw in your discipline. Stop searching for permission to be done with what your soul already released. You were never meant to live inside the same story forever. You were never supposed to wake up every day and wonder why your dreams feel like echoes instead of callings. You were never built to pretend so well that you forget how it feels to breathe honestly. And that's why you feel this ache now, because your body is done performing, because your spirit is no longer willing to carry the weight of your own denial, because your energy is finally withdrawing from everything that asks you to shrink. It's not burnout, it's revelation. It's the moment the old resonance collapses and you realize how much of your life was maintained by your willingness to keep betraying yourself. This is the reckoning. And it doesn't require a strategy, only your presence. Let yourself feel the gravity of it. Let yourself stand still while the illusions fall. You are not losing yourself. You are remembering who you were before you agreed to forget. No one prepared you for this part. The part where you stop feeling inspired by everything that used to motivate you. The part where you look around at the life you built and wonder how it ever felt like yours. The part where your old ambitions taste like dust in your mouth. This is the space between identities. And it's sacred, even if it feels hollow. Because what's happening here isn't failure. It's the dissolving of agreements you never consciously signed. The agreement to keep proving your worth by how much you can endure. The agreement to measure your success by how easily you could adapt to everyone else's expectations. The agreement to pretend you didn't notice how much of yourself you were spending just to feel accepted. You are breaking those contracts now. And the breaking feels like fatigue because your nervous system is detoxing from a lifetime of performing. This is why you feel heavy without an obvious cause, why you wake up exhausted even after a full night's sleep, why you can't find the motivation to care about the old markers of success. Because your energy is no longer available for the roles you've outgrown. Because your spirit is reclaiming the resources it once loaned to your survival strategies. You don't need to fight this. You don't need to shame yourself for being unable to conjure excitement for what never truly mattered. Don't need to search for the next big goal to distract you from the emptiness. This emptiness is not a problem to solve. It's a clearing. It's a space your soul carved out so something real can finally root itself. If you can stay here, without numbing, without rushing, you will feel it. The first quiet hum of something truer than any version you've ever performed. It doesn't need your effort to arrive. It only needs your honesty. So let yourself be honest. Admit that you don't recognize this season. Admit that you don't have the language for what's unraveling. Admit that you don't know how to explain to others why you feel like you're standing in the ashes of a life that still looks intact on the surface. You don't owe anyone a narrative that makes this comfortable to witness. Your transition is not a performance, it's an unmasking. And yes, you may lose things here. People who only knew how to connect with your old identity may drift away. Roles that once defined you may dissolve. Familiar rhythms may fall silent. But what remains will be real. What emerges will not require you to compromise your center just to be loved or seen. This is why the in-between feels so lonely, because it's stripping away every false tether so that when you step forward, it's as yourself, not a projection of who you thought you had to be. And you are closer to that step than you realize. Every moment you resist the urge to rebuild your old scaffolding, you prove to your nervous system that safety does not live in pretending. Every breath you take without trying to fill the space with noise is a declaration that you trust the intelligence of your own becoming. This is the quiet revolution no one celebrates. The one where you stop negotiating your intuition for approval. The one where you finally call your energy back from every story that demanded your self-abandonment. Stay here. Stay empty. Stay honest. Because in this void, you're not dissolving. You're decompressing from the weight of who you never were. You don't have to know what comes next. You don't have to see the shape of the life waiting for you on the other side of this release. You don't even have to feel hopeful every day. Hope is not a requirement for transformation. Presence is. And presence can look like sitting in your living room, staring at the same walls, and realizing you no longer resonate with the person who decorated them. It can look like answering a text with a single word because you don't have the energy to pretend you're fine. It can look like going to bed early, not out of discipline, but because your spirit needs to rest in a space untouched by performance. These moments are not failures. They are sacred withdrawals. Tiny acts of reclamation that whisper, I am no longer available for what isn't true. Maybe you feel raw right now, like your heart is exposed to everything. Maybe you feel numb, like you're wrapped in invisible gauze that keeps you from connecting to anything. Both are natural responses to the collapse of old frequencies. You are not malfunctioning. You are recalibrating. And recalibration doesn't happen all at once. It comes in waves, periods of clarity followed by fog, moments of relief followed by grief. Don't try to rush the process. Don't shame yourself for still missing what you've outgrown. Don't confuse temporary emptiness with permanent loss. There is nothing wrong with you for needing time to reintroduce yourself to yourself. There is nothing wrong with you for not wanting to carry the old story forward. There is nothing wrong with you for simply sitting here, breathing, and refusing to betray your own knowing any longer. This is what it looks like to stop surviving and start listening. And even if it feels like nothing, it's everything. Because in this pause, in this gentle suspension between the life that held you together and the life that is calling you forward, there is a hidden intelligence guiding every unraveling. It's the same intelligence that has whispered to you in the quiet hours that you were never meant to exhaust yourself proving your worth, that you were never meant to perform your aliveness for people who could not meet you in theirs, that you were never meant to shrink so others could feel comfortable standing next to you. It's here now, beneath the fatigue, beneath the confusion, beneath the impulse to rebuild too soon. It's here in the stillness asking, what if you let go without replacing it immediately? What if you trusted that clarity is born from the quiet, not the chaos? What if you gave yourself permission to belong to nothing for a while, so you could belong fully to yourself when the next alignment arrives? No one teaches us how to do this. How to rest inside the unknown without wrapping it in meaning or measuring its value by how fast it resolves. How to honor the space between stories as sacred instead of something shameful. But you're learning right now simply by staying, by not running back to the old identity, by not dressing your emptiness up as certainty, by not reaching for the performance when your system is finally tired of the stage. This is your initiation into a softer kind of strength, the kind that doesn't require you to be impressive, but invites you to be intact. The kind that doesn't demand you to keep producing proof of your progress, but allows you to quietly embody your truth. And even if no one else sees it, even if no one else understands it, this is the beginning of something real.